Advanced Micro Devices Incorporated (NASDAQ). AMD isn't just another name in the semiconductor game, it's the scrappy underdog that's taken market share from titans and upended conventional wisdom. AMD's recent trading slump, a little dip, big drama. Shares closed at $117, down a stone's throw. On June 3, 2025, AMD's share price closed at approximately $117.31, slipping $2.03, minus 1.7%, on the day. For a company that frequently commands headlines for triple-digit percentage moves, a $2 wobble might sound trivial, but in Wall Street parlance, that was enough to get traders' hearts racing and YouTube commentators punching the air. Intraday volatility, the tug-of-war act. Here's where things get spicier. Earlier in the session, AMD shares tumbled to as low as $113.28 before staging a partial comeback into the mid-$117 range. In other words, it was like watching a roller coaster barrel through a loop and barely missed the supports. That intraday swing, about $4.40 from low to close, was driven by a blend of broader market jitters, rising bond yields, a cautious Federal Reserve tone, and a few AMD-specific whispers. AI inventory crunch. Some analysts pointed to potential supply chain hiccups for AMD's high-end MI300 AI accelerators. If data center customers can't get chips, GPUs can't ship, and investors start sweating. Crypto mining tapering. Whispers circulated that crypto miners, who gobble up GPUs, are easing off purchases until next year's halving event. Less demand from miners can translate to lower GPU revenue. Picture a tug-of-war rope with two equally strong teams. On one side, bulls gripping the rope chant, "Data center glory!" On the other, bears tug back with, "Macro headwinds." The rope stretches, snaps taut, and AMD's share price oscillates wildly, just the kind of drama traders live for. Why even a tiny dip matters? It's all about narrative. When AMD slips modestly, headline writers pounce with, "AMD stumbles," or, "Under the hood, why AMD cooled off." But here's the thing, for a company that routinely spikes in double-digit percent moves on big product announcements, a 1 to 2% swing is more like a subtle shift in the breeze, rather than a seismic quake. It's akin to your favorite action movie character tripping on a pebble, momentarily embarrassing, but you know they'll be back in top form by the next scene. Volatility, more than just a buzzword. AMD's beta, hanging off the market's batting rail. If you look up AMD's beta, you'll see a number north of 1.5, meaning AMD tends to move 1.5 times as much as the broad S&P 500 on any given day. That's what Wall Street calls volatility. But let's be honest, it's the heart-pounding part of AMD's story. When the index jumps 1%, AMD might swing 1.5% in either direction, sometimes more. Imagine training for a triathlon, only to discover your bicycle frame has a faulty weld. Some days it cruises like a dream, other days, it creaks and threatens to fall apart mid-race. That's AMD's stock wheels. When conditions are smooth, a bullish chip cycle, positive earnings, the bike glides. When the road narrows, macro concerns, inventory noise, the creaks come, lurch, wobble, and hope for a safe landing. By the way, if you are benefiting from the content so far and want more like this, like the video, it means much to me. Hit the subscribe button, turn on the notifications bell, and comment the word more. Just go ahead and type the word more so I know. Now that you have commented, let's continue. What fuels the tug-of-war? Macro shifts, Intel splurging on new fabs, TSMC's capacity constraints, a surge in US tech tariffs. Each is a gust of wind that can knock AMD's stock off balance. Product news cycle. A hot new Ryzen CPU launch can send AMD rocketing. A slight delay in EPYC Genoa X shipments can send it tumbling. It's like watching a soap opera where every rumor touches off a mini-meme storm on Twitter. Investor positioning. Hedge funds often run pairs trades, where they go long AMD and short Intel. If Intel suddenly gets good press, even if AMD is fine, the short leg squeezes AMD down, because the overall pair trade unravels. Volatility for the win, and the sweat. Savvy short-term traders salivate over AMD's volatility because there's always a chance to scalp $3 to $4 intraday. But if you're a buy-and-hold investor, those gyrations can be stomach-churning. Particularly if you check quotes every 5 minutes, don't do that. The key is recognizing that volatility is a feature, not a bug. It often reflects the high stakes in semiconductors, where tiny changes in supply chains or AI demand can ripple through supply/demand fundamentals. Roadmap Overview. At around $117 per share, AMD's market cap sits near $193 billion. To ascend to $700, the share price must grow roughly 6 times. Here's a step-by-step scenario that could light the afterburners. Earnings explosion from data centers. 2025 to 2026, EPYC becomes the de facto choice for high-performance computing, HPC, and hyperscale cloud. Suppose AMD captures 30% of the x86 data center CPU market, up from 15%. That might add $5 billion in incremental revenue per year by 2026, with healthy 40% gross margins. 2026 to 2027, data center GPU business, Instinct MI300 series, ramps dramatically as AMD's ROCm software stack matures. Suppose AMD pushes $3 billion in GPU sales by 2027, nipping at NVIDIA's heels. Consumer CPU and GPU growth. 2025 to 2027, continued momentum in Ryzen 8000 series Zen 5 for desktops and laptops. If AMD gains 20% more share in notebooks globally, currently around 15%, that's another $2 to $3 billion in annual revenue. 2026 to 2028, Radeon RDNA 4 arrives, delivering better ray tracing and AI acceleration. AMD steals enough gaming share to generate an additional $1.5 billion in GPU sales. Xilinx and embedded synergies. 2025 to 2028, the $35 billion Xilinx acquisition, closed in early 2022, begins to pay dividends. Think of FPGAs and 5G base stations, automotive applications, and customized AI inference. By 2028, embedded/infrastructure sales from Xilinx could add $4 billion incremental revenue at 50% gross margins, like selling gold-plated novelty socks for every pair you make. Gross margin expansion and operating leverage. 2025 to 2029, assume AMD's consolidated gross margin climbs from 50%, 2024, to 55 to 57% by 2028, thanks to higher-end product mix and manufacturing node improvements. Let's say AMD stays on cutting-edge TSMC 3 nanometers and eventually 2 nanometers. Meanwhile, SG&A and R&D expand at a slower clip, say 10 to 15% annually, compared to 20 to 25% revenue growth. EBITDA margins creep from 30% to 35 to 38%. Valuation re-rating. If AMD can deliver $50 billion in revenue by 2029, with net income margins near 25%, that's $12.5 billion in net profit. If the market assigns a modest P of 28, still lower than NVIDIA's, but premium relative to legacy semis, AMD's market cap would be $350 billion plus. Divided by 1 billion shares, that's $350 per share. Now, tack on optionality from newer markets, quantum computing IP, next-gen GPU accelerators for OpenAI-like rivals, and emerging automotive silicon. If those ventures add another $10 billion in value, AMD's intrinsic worth could stretch to $400 to $450 per share. Moat expansion and AI coup de grace. 2027 to 2029. Suppose AMD's MI400 series, 4th gen CDNA, finally overtakes NVIDIA in data center AI throughput per watt. Hyperscalers begin to license RCM in droves because it's open source. Full stack integration with EPYC CPU and MI GPU versus NVIDIA's CPU plus GPU with a third-party CPU vendor drives adoption. That final coup de grace pushes AMD's net profit to $15 billion by 2029. If AMD commands a P of 35 in an AI mania environment, that's $525 billion market cap, $525 per share. Strategic splits, buybacks, and dividends. Assuming AMD executes share buybacks to reduce the share count by 10 to 15% over 5 years, and perhaps initiates a modest dividend, say, 50 cents per share starting in 2027, these financial maneuvers boost per share metrics. A 15% lower share count on a $525 billion market cap gives $618 per share. Factor in an AI multiple premium, and you could flirt with $700 per share, if everything runs like a Swiss watch on a rocket ship. If we fully obey the Lord, the Creator of heaven and earth, and carefully follow all His commandments, He has promised to set us high above all the nations of the earth. Deuteronomy 28. We shall be blessed when we come in and when we go out. I appeal to you to accept God and let Him be your guide, for He will never leave you nor forsake you. Do not be afraid, do not be discouraged. Deuteronomy 31 verse 8. Want more information? Please check the description section. That's the end for now. If you have watched until the end, drop a comment like this: I stayed until the end. Just comment that I stayed until the end. When I see this comment, I will give you a heart. 3 more favors I request from you. First, like this video, subscribe, and then turn on the notifications bell. If you do this, you greatly encourage me to continue bringing to you insightful content. Do not miss out on our future videos full of insight. All I am asking is your subscription. Thanks for joining us today. Your support means so much to us. Do not hesitate to share this video to help someone who may benefit. I recommend that you watch the next video, subscribe to the channel, and share your thoughts about today's video. Wish you God's blessings and care. Faith and prayer will do what no power on earth can accomplish. See you in the next video by God's mercy.